you have any questions, just let us know. We can talk.
Hi.
Hello.
Yeah, well, always have questions. Thank you for answering my question about the lighting. I knew there was something. I was like, I know there's something back there that I did and I changed something. Um, yeah, so I feel like this last week was really hard. Well, I guess the week before. I'm a week late on that.
The character details or
No, the texturing, the game room.
oh, okay, okay, okay.
That I just was like everything has to have something on it. I was like, oh my God. So I wasn't even totally sure that you had the list of things that had to be in there, the five. Um, I can't, the terminology escapes me. I wasn't even
Mm-hmm.
sure that I gave you that I was labeling things in the right category. So I hope I hope it's gonna be okay. But just off the top of my head, there were like little things that were like the on the chair, there were white parts of it that I couldn't change the color of it
Mm-hmm.
on. I didn't know how to like what my issue was there. Just little things
There
like
are already materials on it.
yeah, I mean, I if I select the whole object in an object mode, I was adding, just a color to it or something. The white parts of it like look like a cool stripe. So I was like, well, maybe it's just supposed to be white.
Mhm.
I couldn't get into it at all.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's possibly already materials on it where those spaces already had something, so you just have to take the material that already existed and use that.
Okay. Okay. All right. I feel like well the when comes to all the nodes, oh
Mm-hmm.
my gosh, I feel like I'm trying to learn how to fly a plane. Like I'll never know. I can follow instructions and I can
Mm-hmm.
do it, and something will come out, may or may not be exactly what I thought I was going to get. But I just feel like how long does it take before you know really what's going on?
To be honest, it doesn't like looking at the nodes is not a requirement. Like you can, if I share my let's see. So, to be honest. So if I switch to so if I'm adding colors or textures to this currently, I for me, just based on how I work, I can like if I'm adding just colors, I can just click this, go down here to the right, and this is what I was talking about. There's already stuff here, so that might be why you couldn't change it. You just have to press move for each of
Oh,
these.
okay. So that indicates like a slot that's already there, and I can just um change it.
But if I'm gonna just like, okay, I'll change this color. this. And I got this brown. I can go to this mode and just look this face, and then I'm going to do it with a new material and go here, and then image texture, open, choose this one, and then just assign. So I'm going through this and I'm not looking at the nodes at all. So looking at the nodes is not a necessary part of this, because there's no there's no really there's no real purpose of looking at the nodes if you're texturing the room. You're just adding colors and images to everything. So it doesn't have to be confusing. Does that make sense?
Well, I thought for the last complex material, didn't we have to do something?
Yeah, well, yeah, complex material. Um, but that's a part of it where it can be confusing. But for the most part, you're just adding colors and just
Well, I realized as I was almost done and I really just didn't have any more time. I never like last 2 weeks ago when you did the demonstration, you were trying to put the material on the sofa and trying to, place it on the material so that it would not make all these seams and stuff. And I realized I guess I kind of chickened out and I just made it like a white leather. So there were no patterns to deal with. But then I realized there was nothing, I couldn't UV unwrap like the book because I didn't have a book cover that was the full shape of the thing. I just had I just took a photo of the front of the book and I took a photo of the back of the book. And so I didn't have a chance to do any of that. So I hope that
mhm.
is not going to be a problem. I just feel like at the end, I was like, I never wrestled with that whole issue. So I hope that's going to be okay.
Did you get the five? Because people constantly worry about, like, even when people are leaving comments, they're leaving like 20 things. Not if it's outside of five things, it doesn't really matter.
Well, no, I just was wondering if I needed to do that actual procedure of, of unwrapping it and, creating my
It
reverse
matters for
order.
the five things you're unwrapping that need to be have an image. If you have five outside of the book, then the book doesn't matter.
Okay, well, I guess I don't totally understand even what
Like
that
the requirements or the assignment is to have five things that require an image where you have to
Yeah.
UV it. If you did
Yeah.
the TV, three pictures and the screen, that's five. So what does it matter that you cover the book in a book cover?
Well, just because all I did was put an image on one, rectangle, and I didn't have to do the UV unwrapping at all. I mean, aside from placing it, centering it or rotating it so it fit properly, I didn't have to do any reverse origami, I guess. I don't know.
You do it for five of them?
What's that?
Did you do it for five objects?
Five of I did three posters and various books and something else.
Right. So that's what my point. If you did it for five objects, what does it matter if another object has it? That's what that's the actual question. It doesn't
I could,
matter
because I
because
thought we needed
you have the
to.
requirements of the assignment.
Right. Okay, that's fine. I'll stop there. That's fine. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if it's a nice to have, if you like, I wanted the book to have a book cover. That's a personal thing, not a requirement of the assignment.
Okay. Thanks.
Mm. And you can always go back to it if you wanted to.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind trying to do something like you were doing with the plaid pattern on the sofa.
Because they're just like I downloaded this from the internet. There's a bunch of things you can download from the internet. Like there's another one that I've thought about letting people use one of two, but it's just like I'll have to prep it a little bit more. get a new desktop for it to not from, I guess I would have to remove all the materials for people to use it. But anyway, there's a lot of things you can download from the interwebs to practice. Let's see. And
Oh, wow, the curtains. Interesting.
then like if you wanted to do your own thing, it only is a matter of just deleting the materials and or just repurposing the materials. So, and this is what I would have to do if I let students use this to start from scratch. But you can just find stuff online and practice. Do you have another question?
Not off the top of my head.
Antonio, do you have a question?
No, no, I just remembered all too late that I could just repurpose those surfaces that have been already assigned. I was like halfway
Mhm.
through and I'm like, why did I make so many of these that were already there? Damn it.
What's the name?
It's okay. It's one of those mistakes you only make once. I'll never
Yeah,
forget.
because you're the next time you're gonna be like, oh, I'm not doing this again.
You learn more from mistakes. You really
Yeah.
do.
You know, I did
Uh,
wonder, so I think I told you I didn't realize that when there was a little slot there already, I could just go straight into new. I was hitting plus every time. So I ended up with so many materials. And is there a way to like clear out things that aren't being used? I was afraid to start deleting because then I was like, oh, I might delete it off something. I didn't. So I just left them all there. And I felt like it was so messy.
Yeah, that's a good question. Is there a way to get rid of them?
let's see.
You don't have enough tabs.
Yeah, and this is a new computer. I have a problem. Like the way I barely use this computer. It's new, but I also barely use it, and I have all these tabs. It's like a issue that I have on every device I have. So, and I'm not
Tab
trying to fix
hoarding.
it.
It's okay. I just crossed what is it? Third? No, I think it's 35,000 unread emails. My wife hates it so much.
There was a couple years ago, like 4 years ago, like I took to my Gmail and like consolidated it and like got rid of a lot of unread. Took me 5 days for like 25,000 emails.
I was
Or
reading
it could have
somewhere
been
that
more than that, to be honest.
somebody told me that it takes more memory to delete it than it does to just leave them.
Really?
I think bandwidth, yeah,
Hmm.
Yeah, time. Let's
and
see.
time. Who has the
Ooh.
time?
No, okay. To clear this, there's a little arrow icon next to the right of the material list. Open it, press remove unused spots. Works only on active. Can you do more? Let's see, object clean up. Okay, it works on multiple. That's what I want. All right, let's see. So we click the chair. So this is your issue that you're having. You have these slots. So now if I select and then it said object, what did it say? Oops, object, clean up,
Mhm.
remove unused material spots. And then let's go back to the chair. That didn't work. What the easy?
Live.
Okay. Do I need to be in Facebook? Okay, does it? I could have read the next thing. After it has been deleted, try looking in the outliner window and click the scenes drop down. Open data. Let's read the script. Um, display mode. But that that doesn't suck because there's materials, but not all of them have materials on it, so that doesn't work either. I know already know that. Um, this looking for the answer, I created actually a website called 3D Gumshoe. Did I turn up? I feel like I decided to like stop paying this year, but I don't know if it's still up. But like
So you created a website?
yes. Okay, yeah. So because back in the day when I was like always looking for answers, I'd be like, you would go through all these forums just to find 12 people saying I have the same problem. So I
Sure.
created 3D Gumshoe to be like, all right, this is the answer. I just went through a bunch of like, okay, this is the question. This is what somebody's dealing with. Click on it. This is the answer. You don't have to be like 12 people saying, I'm still having that problem too. Like, let me
Yeah.
find the forum that tells you what to do and put it on my website. And so it's outdated because I haven't updated this since I guess 2016, but a lot of people appreciated it because it's like
Yeah,
really
heck yeah.
sucks like looking through all this stuff and they're like, and you get to the bottom and it's like, I didn't solve
Nobody
the
had the answer.
problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Google AI answers, I don't trust them.
Oh yeah, they could be wrong. I wonder if this script works. Downloads.
Because ultimately it just increases the size of your file, having all those extra materials, I assume, right?
Hmm, probably not
If nothing else, it's just
because they're
annoying to
empty.
find the one.
So um,
Okay. Well,
No,
let's
a
see.
lot of mine are not empty. It's like I started to create something and then I don't know. I don't know. I ended up with like material
oh,
0.39.
there's a way to do that. Let's see.
It's
Yeah,
just not
that's the
assigned
issue
to
I had too.
anything.
Open the script. Hmm. There's probably still a way to do it though. Open downloads. Move. Open the script and A and the script and it removed one of them. Let me see if I run this.
Yeah, the issue I was having was having too many under the browse material to be linked button. So there's like a huge list on there with
Okay,
several
I ran the
of the
script again
same.
and it got rid of it. So
Oh,
uh this let me put the script in the chat. I guess I'll upload to that announcement as well. File down. So that's not a I mean, thank you, Mr. Man, for your script, but the fact that I have to run it twice, it's not efficient, but it worked. But the way to if you got like materials that aren't assigned to anything, right over here in the outliner, if you there's this 1 and then 2 icon, this drop down with the like images or like the pictures on top of each other, like the pictures on top of each other.
Oh, yeah.
You go down a Blender file, and then under materials, it'll list all your materials. So if you know which ones are not being used, you can just delete them.
well, that's the scary.
Uh,
Hmm?
That's the scary thing. Like maybe it is being used somewhere and I'm not going to see it.
Oh,
Like
okay.
you'll
So
notice it too late to reverse, you know?
like one thing that I use, well, okay, so the way you could, I mean, this isn't saving you any time to be honest, but the one way you could tell if something's being used is you click it and right click and then select linked. And so that's kind of what I use to create this assignment and your character materials assignment or well, most people use their character. Like, well, I think one person uses something different. But I can if I'm like, okay, you gotta put materials on all these things, and if it's like five, if it's like you didn't put materials on like this thing or something, and it's like three of those, I'm like, all right, solve materials. But what happens is your all your materials are for this room is here, so I can select all the materials. I can select linked, and then I can go here to select an inverse, and then these are all the objects that don't have material on them. So that's the easy way that I can create the assignment
Okay.
in that part of it.
Okay.
So
All right.
you
That
can
makes sense.
select if there's you can select which material has what. You just have to right click and select linked. And I'll show you that it's this one.
Got it. Okay. That helps.
Any other questions?
No, I'm sorry, I haven't really started, the next unit at all, so
Yeah, neither have I. I
didn't have time.
a crazy
So
couple of weeks.
the- this week is lighting. So there's a concept called the 3-point lighting setup. 3 points doesn't have to be taken literally. It's just it can be taken literally, but it's also just a concept. So let me do it this way. The idea is that you have a key light, a fill light, and a rim slash hair light. And so a lot of times, people use spotlights, particularly in demonstrations, but you can do this with any kind of light, mostly. So I'm going to create this spotlight. So this is just the lighting uh, preview. And so our spotlight is pointing down, that's why we can't see anything. But if I would move it up, oh no. Also, let's see. So something to keep in mind when you're actually in any 3D program is that sometimes the light works according to how big the object is. So like one day you could be lighting a character and everything's working all right, and then the next day you could be lighting a scene like a cityscape, and you're like, oh, why aren't any of these lights working? It depends on the scale. So I go over here, I'm selecting my object, and it's almost 3 meters by almost 2 meters by almost 2 meters. And so I would just have to determine, is that big or small? Like if you have lights in your scene and they're working, but then you have another scene and your object is like 100 meters by whatever, then you just have to use more power for your light. So let me see if this is what my issue is. I'm gonna go to 100. see. So you play around with it to see if it's just that your power is down too much. So when your objects are smaller, it means less power, but when your objects are bigger, it means more power. Like sometimes I've done demonstrations, and I just needed it to be 200 or 300. So I don't know what that's about, but now that it's 1,000, I can see it. So now I'm gonna get into the key light. So the key light, let me make sure to name this key. Another thing similar to the camera, you can look inside the light to move it easier. Because yes, you could move it using your rotation tool, your move tool, but sometimes it's just easier to do kind of similar to what when we're looking at the camera. So I can go to view. Um, Cameras, set active object as camera. So my light will be set as the camera. And then we have to do the same thing we do with the camera when we're moving around. We have to go all the way to the right under view and do camera, check camera to view so that we don't go out of it. And I can just move the light a bit easier. And so the idea of the key light is your main light. Sometimes it's off to the side, like a 3/4, and it's your most powerful light in your scene. So it's what's giving your object, your subject more, the most light. Now that I'm kind of in that place, I can turn this off and then kind of go and see where things are. So when I look at the top, it's like 45 degrees. It's to one side of my object. I look closer. I actually want to, so when you're using this technique, something that you'll probably mess up on multiple times before you get it right is that your light is currently your camera. So in order to look through your actual camera, you have to set it as the camera theme. So, because if I press 0 right now, I'll be looking through the light. So let me select the camera. I have to go back to view cameras, and I could just also do control numpad 0, which is a shortcut. And then I want to just make this a front view. So I'm going to, this is 90. See, again, I'll put it right here, and then I, so right now, if I render image, this is how my object looks. When you only have the key light, all of your light is on one side, the other side of your object is in complete, well, not complete darkness, because we can see a little bit. At least I can on my computer, if you can see a little bit. But this is in shadow, and so this is the purpose of our key light, just to give us our main light. Depending on what I want, I could lessen the power, increase the power. It just depends on what I'm doing. The next light, let me put that, that's on slot 1. So we're gonna go to slot 2. So the next light is your fill light. So I'm gonna create another spotlight. I'm gonna, again, well, I could do control 0 and this. I'm going to go to the other side. So it's the key light is on one side and the fill light is on another side. As we already know, this light is set to 1,000, I believe. Yes, 1,000. So we know 10 power is not going to do much. So I'm going to have to increase that, but let me just place my light first. That's good. And so, your fill light is not meant to compete with your key light. It just is meant to take the other side of your object out of shadow. So I would never, and your fill light is never going to be more power than your key light. It shouldn't really be anywhere close to your key light. But once you know the rules, you can break them. I'm going to start with 500. It's kind of making it look non-dynamic, and so I wouldn't keep the 500. I would want it to be more subtle, and my key light is the main light, and then my full light is just taking this side out of shadow. So I can do like a 200, or 150. So I could do a 150 if I wanted to have some nuance there, but you can at least see the depths and the like grooves of the other ear. So we have our key light is at 1,000, and then I am just having my full light at 150. There's not a formula; it's based on what you like and what is pleasing to your eye. There's no like this is art. There's no like uh parametric formula or anything. And then the last light is the rim light or the hair light. And so if you have a subject, like say in real life, you're interviewing someone, it's against a dark background, and I'll do that really quickly. So we have this like dark brown subject. So let's say dark blue. Also, I would have to make sure that we can see that the stage of sorts is clipping the lights, which is having an effect. So sure. Oh, stage so that my lights affect. But this is the purpose of the rim light is that oh, I'm still on the light as a camera. So control non-zero. So when you have a say you have like a brunette, and then you have like a dark blue background, you want to separate person's hair. That's when it's called a hair light or a rim light. You want to separate this uh the object from the background. So that's why you create a rim light. So I'm going to see. Shift A, create a light. discombobulated. So I want to make sure that I can see the edge. Stage. Let me actually turn off the room light, turn this off so that, so I want to render with the fill light. So this is slot one. Well, I didn't have the background yet. Let's actually pause. So let's turn off the fill light so we can see comparison, render image. So this is with the fill light. Oh, sorry, the key light only. And slot two adds the rim light. Sorry, it adds the fill light. And then we can put slot three. We can turn the rim light on again and see if it's actually enough. So if we go to spot two, more power. Oh, okay. I also want to make sure it's not the stage isn't blocking. Something else I can do is rotate it. Sure. Okay, so you see, oh no. Well, I meant to do that for slide three, but as you can see, we have our rim light that is showing up on top of the top views. So go back to slot one, you see that we didn't have that, but we just had the key light, and now we have rim light. It is affecting other areas as well, but it is definitely separating our object from our background, and can also we put this to so slot one is the key, slot two the key in the fill, slot the key in the rim, slot four. So something else you can do is change the colors of the lights. So I'll go to pink lights. yellow, blue, so you can do stuff like that. Uh, any questions about that?
No?
Nope. Just following along.
There's go to select the camera. And camera tab, import display composition guide. So there, if anybody, is an artist, photographer, or whatever, you can overlap some composition guides. So the rule of thirds, you see these dotted lines splits horizontally and vertically into three. So, typically when you do use the rule of thirds, uh, you just have the object on one of its lines instead of in dead center. Here's the center line, diagonal, so you can, have stuff on the line for your competition. The golden ratio, and then triangle A, triangle B, and then there's another triangle A, triangle B. You can have multiple at the same time. So yeah, that's something. And if we go more vector Texas and go back to the game room. So something that might not be obvious to beginners. Obviously, this is a cutout of a room, but when you compose your shot, the idea is to not make it look like it's a cutout. Like people in 3D or in anything, any art really, are going to do cheats because they don't want to have to make a whole house or a whole room or something. That doesn't mean when you take a picture of it that you want to be like, okay, this is my room. You're gonna try to, and you can change the resolution of this because it is kind of to the output. Let's do 19, 20. So, and it doesn't have to be perfect, but you're going to try to compose your shot in a way where you're not making it obvious that it is a cutout. Also, in your composed shot, you don't want to like be zoomed in because that kind of defeats the purpose of having a whole game room. You're being graded on lighting the entire game room, not just a portion of it. Also, you can like if you want like a shot that's not working with the cutout, I can tab into edit mode. can like so that something's not working. Always make it how blah blah blah. Um, do not use the sun because if you say you like do all this like nuanced, oh, this is we're gonna watch have a movie night, it's gonna be night, we have like these lights on right here, and you took the time to put little point lights in each bulb and it's looking really nice. If you put a sunlight in there, it's blowing out everything. You won't have any nuance to your lighting setup. So stay away from using sunlight for this assignment.
No 1 million watt light bulbs. Got it.
Not if you want nuance. And then another way to light things. If I okay, and then I want the camera to be open. So another way to light, I'm gonna take this off the wall a little bit. I'm going to add a material, and this is just going to be, we're gonna keep it white. And then I'm gonna put this question mark just to isolate this. And I'm gonna add another material. And I'm going to go into edit mode, select the faces on the back. I'm gonna assign the glow to that. And so right now our default is the principal BSDF. I can change this to an emission. And so an emission allows you to glow. You can change the strength if you want to. I don't know how much strength it's going to have, so actually glow, yellow. Go back into object mode, press the question mark again. And so I have my camera pointed in that direction. I'm going to render my image. And so now, as you can see, I'm not gonna, if it takes too long, I'm not gonna allow it to complete. But as you can see, I have the glow behind my object. So you can use materials to light as well.
Does it work for like the TV screen as well?
It's gonna get tricky with the TV screen. Because it'll with the TV screen, if you add the glow, it'll look washed out.
Oh, because there's no surface for it to reflect off of, and it's going
Mhm.
outward instead of backward.
So there will have to be an alternative. I can't think off the top of my head, but there would have to be an alternative solution if you wanted to make the TV glow.
Okay.
And then outside of that, if I'm going to put that up there, I'm actually going to remove the glow so that it's not working double time. Scale that up. I'm going to put glow to white. And if I can put some even, like even energy and supports. That is quicker. Let's try side posting. So you can use objects to light. Let's see.
Okay, yeah, so the ceiling is just emitting that bright white. Okay.
So I actually it come about the TV or the screen. I noticed in the on the page with the instructions for the assignment for the game room last time, it looked like the TV and the computer screens were glowing, and I just didn't have the wherewithal to tackle to figure out how to do that. Is that what was done there, or did they put the emission material on something like around it or near it or something?
I don't imagine that they used it. They probably just used lights. Okay, that is lighter. I reduced the strength to 1. I want to see a noticeable. There is. I'll do 0.2. Uh, Mostly you just want to kind of concentrate on lighting it, like making stuff glow is advanced. Unless you have the extra time, you shouldn't worry about it.
Okay, I did do the game zone sign according to one of the tutorials that was in the materials. But I just didn't know how to do it for the screen when just parts of the screen would be lit up.
Yeah, like last week's assignment was specifically texturing, so um, I mentioned not to do any lighting, and that was most likely be lighting. So that's for this week.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, you can use a plane or any type of object to light things. Sometimes it gets sketchy if you're trying to combine lights with using the emission, so be cognizant of that. If there's like something that's not just it should work, but it's not working, then you might just want to. If you have an emission in there, you just might get it. Because this class isn't long enough to go through all that stuff. So
Okay, I did think of a question if you have time. Going back to assignments to my character and the issue of her scalp showing through. Should I have like actually colored her scalp, the hair color? Is that how that would be handled?
um, you can either select. I mean, it would be depend on your topology and like, did you like does your the way your faces sit, does it allow for you to select faces for a hairline? Is it gonna look crazy? Or you can just create a cap, like you use the head as a base, you just duplicate it, delete all the other faces, and you just create like a cap where you
Ah,
just put
okay.
a
Right, right. Okay, that makes
hair
sense.
where you would put a material on it.
Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm. Any other
Okay, so I don't,
questions?
I did read the instructions and now I do remember you did say something about not doing fancy lighting and I don't know why I thought that doing the neon light was not that. But anyway, so I remember now, so for this one, I need to change anything that I had put lighting on, right? Okay.
So real quick, I'm looking at the game room rendering that you were referring to, Olivia, and it looks like what they did is add a glow behind the TV. So it's like a backlit television, and it gives it the illusion that the TV's glowing.
What about the screen of the computer? I mean, it's tiny, so it's kind of hard to see.
Oh yeah, I see what you mean. I think that might just be the image is just super bright, right?
Oh, okay,
Maybe.
maybe.
Unless they
So
did some
what that
fancy
needs to
stuff that we don't know.
use.
Yeah. Either way, that render is killer. I love it. Makes mine look like trash.
I know.
You're a beginner.
It was-
Don't compare yourself.
But I'm also an artist. I'm hypercritical of myself.
Artiste. Well, that's what you get for having taste.
This is true. I need to live in a bland world. Must be nice.
Any
Uh,
other questions?
no, I think I got it. I'm excited. Lighting looks like a lot of fun to do.
Yeah. I feel like people typically, when they struggle with the modeling, like I get their best work out of the texturing and lighting. They're like, oh, okay, I don't have to make anything. I just gotta put stuff on the other stuff. Yeah, it's my jam.
That's funny.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate it. I think I'm ready. If you're good, Olivia.
Yep, good. Thank you so much. And I really
All right.
appreciate you're doing these office hours. I have to say it's so helpful.
No
Yeah,
problem.
Thank you.
100%. This adds so much more to what we already learn on the computer, but you doing this with us
Imagine people
is
aren't even
big.
watching these.
Well, you got 2 viewers for sure.
Yeah. My ride or dies.
Exactly.
Thank you.
And like y'all are learning the most. The people, that's how you improve the quickest is you ask a lot of questions. So
I'm trying to apply this, so yeah, I gotta learn as much as I can.
yeah,
It's I
so
just find it's
typically you could
really
tell the difference between the people who don't ask questions, don't do ask questions in their assignments.
it's just really
Mm.
fascinating. This is really, I mean, it's very engrossing and very fascinating.
Did you think you would be here?
What do you mean?
Like all the projects that you all have done, did you think it was
Oh,
possible?
yeah. No, it's once you start putting the color on, you're like, wow, it's coming to life.
Hmm.
Yeah, truly.
Even the modeling,
Makes
did you think you would be knowing how to do that stuff?
It seemed so easy just looking like before you started, and then once I started working on the snowman, I was like, oh, wait a minute.
The snowman. You're like, oh.
Like arms, arms, how do I make arms?
Yeah, I'm really
Nice.
excited to like apply what I've learned to projects that I've been sitting on forever. I just never had
Yeah.
an outlet for. So there's no time. So like between doing these assignments, my real work and family life, like it's
And
like
when you once you do personal projects, you don't have to worry about me ragging on you for like not making it low poly. You can make it low poly as you want,
I
just
will
not in
never
this
make it low
class.
poly. Dude, it was funny. I downloaded an image. I started working on the rendering for a client. I wasn't gonna charge him for it. I was like, I'm just gonna test something, and I downloaded some free image. Dude, the topology was terrible. Like, oh my God, it was all
Now you
n-gons and
have
there's
taste
no
in that
quads.
too.
I do. I'm like very discernible, and like my client was like over my shoulder. She's like, "What are you looking at?" And I'm like, "I'm looking at trash. This is garbage." So I've become critical of other people's
Yes,
topology.
join me. Join
Yeah.
me.
No, this is great, man. I'm loving it. So I
Cool.
agree with Olivia. This is awesome. You do a great job explaining things. You're killing it. So thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Y'all are killing it. Like
Right.
that's what I learned when I was taught in New Orleans. It's like when you don't when you get to 3D and you don't have any comparison or you don't know how well you're doing. That's why I try to tell you all as much as I can in the comments that you're doing well because you actually are. And for you to be beginners, you're like, I try to stretch my students, but also you're doing a great job. And so, like, because when I taught at a high school, they had a whole year, the last instructor, and the final project was like some masks and some crazy materials, and I'm just like, it took y'all 9 months to do this, and so
Oh man.
for to teach you all this in like a 15-week period, I'm trying to like, it's stretching you all as hard, but and there are some teachers out there that's probably going to stretch people more than I am, but I'm trying to get you all to like do the production modeling so that if you go back and do like less modeling, at least you know how to do more sophisticated modeling
Sure.
if you needed to
No,
do
no,
it.
it's a great way to do it. I mean, it's
Mm-hmm.
working. So thank you.
No problem.
Yep. Thanks. Have a good night.
All right. See you next
Yeah,
week.
you too. Yeah, take care.
Bye.
I
Bye.